Welcome back to Logic Lab. Today I'm going to be trying this 10 by 10 monster puzzle. It's called 10 by 10 Antiking Coloring Book Meet in the Middle. I'm going to color these regions to make it easier to see what's going on. Okay, the rules are normal Sudoku rules apply, that is, place one digit of the set 1 to 10 in every row, column, but now not in every 3 by 3 box. We're going to place it in every colored region. So the Cracking the Cryptic software does not have the digit 10. It only has 1 to 9. So I will be denoting 0 for the digit 10. So it's an anti-king constraint, meaning digits separated by a king's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. For instance, if this was a 3, that would mean none of these squares could be a 3, because they see this 3 by king's move. Like if it were to move like a chess king, it could go to those squares. And we have irregular, an extra region. So obviously this must form a complete set, the digits 1 to 10, so will this. And we have cages too. So it might be difficult to see. Hopefully this color scheme is not too bad, but this is a cage. Digits can't repeat in the cage. And then we have palindrome rules. Digits on a palindrome must read the same forward and backward. So for instance, this palindrome line, this is the same digit as this digit. That is the same digit as that digit. Okay, and then we have a thermometer here. Digits on the thermometer must increase from the bulb end. So this will give you some digits. Way to play is click the link below. Now it's my turn. Let's do it. And I'm going to start off with this vertical thermometer. Right, needs to be 1 to 10. So I will just do that. And then 0 is 10. I'll get rid of this 3 because that was just for example purposes. All right, so I'm going to let this digit and this digit, which are the same because they're in the same position on the palindrome, I'm going to call them A. I'm going to let these two, which are the same, call them B. Now, if we look at column 3, A in this cage is already here. So where does it go? Where does A go in column 3? Can't go there because it would repeat its cage. Can't go here by Sudoku, so it's only in one of two positions. Right, so another thing to notice is if we keep the logic with A, where does A go in this 10-cell cage? Well, it can't go here or here by Sudoku or there, so it must go in one of those two positions, so I will pencil mark that in. So this cell I'm just going to make C, because it's not A and B, because it sees them by king's move. So let's look at where does C go in column 8. Well, it can't go there because it's in the same cage. It can't go here. It can't go here, or it can't repeat. Now, if it went here, maybe that would be okay. If it went there, that's not okay because it would have to go here by palindrome. Well, you can also think, yeah, you can think, where does C go in the region? Well, it can't go here because it's in the same in this region, and it can't go there, and it's not on the palindrome, so it must go here. So now by Sudoku, we can carry the logic with C, and we can see that C must be either here or here, based on seeing where it goes in this region. So I just noticed this region is interesting, how it interacts with this red region. Sorry, this cell, where does it go in the red region? Well, it can't go anywhere here or here because this shares the same cage. And it can't go there or here. So it definitely goes in one of those two positions. Now, let's look at this cell. No, I wanted to look at this cell. So that cell needs to belong in here. Can't go in any of those because it's repeating the cage. It can't go there or here, so it's in one of those two. This cell is in one of these two positions. Okay, this cell, let's keep an eye on it. Now, where does it go in the red region? Well, it can only go in one of two positions, so I will just make this E. I'll say E is in one of two. So what does that mean for the yellow region? Well, it can't repeat in its cage, can't go here, so it will be in one of three positions, which means on this cage, it can't go on the cage, it also can't go here, and it can't go there, because this is the second cell of the palindrome, which would correspond to this, and that would break. So the only place for E is right where the A spot is. That's the only place in this region. Hopefully that's clear. This is cleverly constructed, combining the cage logic and the palindrome and Sudoku. The only place for this digit in this region is right here. So this is A, which means that's A. This is in the middle of the palindrome, so it will not make, it won't have a corresponding matching digit on the palindrome. So this is telling you where does A go in this cage. By Sudoku, it's not in any of those, so it must go here. And now A is restricted. Okay, A is in one of two positions. But remember, A is down here. So no A there. So this is A. We're almost getting a grip on these A's. All right, and A is in one of two positions. Now this digit, it's in one of two positions. Okay, I suppose, what else is this doing here? Okay, well, A is interesting. Yeah, this is something I noticed. Look at row 5, column 2. What could it be? Well, it can't be a 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 6 or a 7. So it is either a 1, 8, a 9, or 10, which I'll denote as 0. All right, now let's do some work on B. So B in this row must be in one of three positions. That's very clear. Hopefully that's not too hard to see. So where does B go in this box? Well, it can't go here or here or here. And it's not this digit, so it's only in one of the three positions. But if this were B, where would you put B in this cage? Well, you can't put it anywhere. There would be nowhere to put it. And likewise, if this is B again, you can't put it anywhere in the cage. So therefore, those are not B. So this is B. And in this box, B is only in one of two positions. So there's a bit of a restriction on what B can be. So this cell is kind of interesting. I'm gonna let this be F, which corresponds to this on the palindrome line. All right, so that means in this region, where do you put F? Well, you can't make it here or here because it would repeat in the cage. So it must go right there. It's the only place. And this is interesting because F and C are different. So F must appear in the red region at the bottom. But now F is forced to go here because of these F's staring down here. So if F is forced to go down here, F is not here or here or here, so this is, yep, so this is F, which takes away the A spot, so now this is A. So A is very restricted. A is very restricted. A can only go in one of those two positions. And this I should have pencil marked this a while ago, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is an 8, a 9, or a 10. I'll give 0. And A cannot be a 9. Alexa, stop. A cannot be a 9, right, due to this. So A is either 8 or 10 or 1. So this cell is interesting. I'm going to let that be G. Then by cage and Sudoku logic, G must be right here because it's not a C or F or in the cage, so this is G, which means G is in one of two positions in this black region. Right, so now G in this, it can't, well, I mean, it could go here, and it also could go there. It's a weird pencil mark. Those are the only places for G by Sudoku and palindrome. And now if we look at where G goes here, G and A are different, so it's in one of three positions. So we're going to worry about this. Let this be H. Then by palindrome, this is also H. So now in column 4, H is very restricted because now it can't go here or anywhere here. And it also can't go there. Because if it went here, you would run into an issue. You would have nowhere to put it in this cage, and you have to put it in the cage somewhere. So H is definitely restricted to one of two positions. So now, let's see. Okay, so C has to appear in this cage somewhere. It can't appear here because it would repeat in the region. It's not F or G or A, so that just has to be C. And what does that do? Come on, surely that does something. Yeah, C in this cage, this 2x5, or 5x2 cage, must go right there. C over here, because it has to go in the cage in this 10 cage. And it can't go anywhere there. Or here. It's quite restricted. Yeah, if it went here, it wouldn't be able to go in the cage. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the only place for it to go is there. Because now it has to go. Oh, does that make any sense? Yeah, because it has to be in here somewhere. Either here, here, or here. Okay, so C has to be here. And then, so C in the blue cage. Now it's not H and B. Must go there. So now C is quite restricted. Here, it's definitely one of two positions. So we could think about what the digit C could be. It's seeing 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It's seeing 5 by King's Move, and 4, and 3, and 2. So the only way C can exist is if C is 1. You guessed it. So now this is not a 1. Now I'm going to replace C's with 1s, and we have our first digit. Let's go. All right, so this digit, let's take a look at it. Where does it go in this region? Well, it must be down here somewhere. Is it 10, 8, or 9? It obviously can't be there. What happens if it's here? Now where does it go in this region? If it's here, then it has nowhere to go in this orange region because it's seeing this by king's move in the same cage and this, so this would break the puzzle. So this digit must go there. I will give that a little pink flash, which means it's not H because it sees it, right? So that's not H. Therefore, this is H. All right. So that means that H, if you follow the logic, it's definitely down here somewhere. So now it's not here or here. So it's a little bit restricted. So it is a 3, 4, or 5 because it must go in this cage. And it's not here or there. So it's a 3, 4, or 5. Now, what else can we say? So now by Sudoku, the only place for H in the column, believe it or not, the only place is right there. That's the only place for it. So that's H. Okay, very good. All right, so now we just take a look at H's and we see row 4 is interesting because we know H is 3, 4, or 5. So none of these can be H. So H is definitely, H and A are different. So H is definitely here, which means it's not here. So we just follow this logic. So H must go there, which means that's not H because it sees it. And now let's see what happens here. By Sudoku and cage, hopefully you can see this cage means these are not H. And this is not H, so H is in one of 3 positions. If H was here, it would have to go there, but then it would be in the same cage, and the puzzle would break. If H was here, it would have to be the 4th cell along this palindrome, and it would have to go here, but that would, or here, and that would break for many reasons. So therefore, the only place is right here. So that's H. It's the 2nd cell along the palindrome, so now this is H. And we're doing very good with the H's now. So now where does H go in the column? Well, it sees all of these because it's in the same cage. It's not A or 1, so it is down here. All right, so H is now 4 or 5 because it's not 3. Where does it go in the yellow region? Well, it has to go there. There's no other way. It must go here. So that's H, which means it's not a 5, so H is a 4. And that is good. We get another digit. Let's see, how many 4s do we have? We have all the 4s, 10 4s. So far, so good. We're about a half an hour in. And we are making very good progress. Now, how do we continue? Well, with these puzzles, you kind of just have to look for some sneaky interaction between the palindrome and the cages, right? Because that's the only way you solve it. This is what I love about these colorful puzzles, is that you have to use your creativity and the palindrome and cage, the wonky cages, to deduce digits, not normally like you would do in a regular Sudoku, which is why it's like so fascinating to me that these types of puzzles exist of all sizes. So, all right, with that being said, we have the 1s, we have the 4s. Now, can we do any more work on what we already have? Kind of. We know that A is in one of 2 positions because it's not here or there. Okay. So it's either a 1, which it can't be. Well, this is interesting because we already have 1s. So the only place for A is right here. So that is A. Thus, A is either a 10 or an 8. And by a 10, I mean we put the digit 0. That's great. So it's a 10 or an 8, which means one of these is a 9. Okay. Very good. Very, very good. Now, okay, all right. I'm just going to look at the 9. So the 9 sees all these squares by cage and region, so it must go in one of 2 positions. If this is a 9, then it's that digit. Now, I see the 9s in one of these cells. Okay. And I don't know if I want to pencil mark that because that may be a little confusing. Okay, maybe I want to deal with this cell. So this cell, I'm going to, should I give it another letter? Should I give it another letter? Okay, I haven't used D. I'll give it D. So by palindrome, 1, 4, D, it has to go 1, 4, D. It's right there. But where does it go in the yellow region? It can't repeat in its cage. It's different from F, A, or 1, or 4. So it has to go there. And surely that will help me with something. Surely that will help me with something. Maybe I can think about the column. Yes, D can't repeat in this cage. So it can't go in any of those positions or here in its region here. So D must go down there. That's good. And now, okay, well, D is now in this cage. So where does it go in the black region? It could go here or it could go there. Interesting. Okay, let's continue this momentum. We have momentum here. We're not going to let it slip. Okay. What else? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, D and B are different clearly because they see one another. Now, D being here means D is a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. It's obviously not a 2 or 6. So we're getting somewhere. And that means D is not here. It's also not B, and it's not here or 4. So it is very sneakily one of 3 positions, very sneakily, up there in that top left kind of upside down U shape. I hope that's clear to everyone. D is not here by Sudoku. It's not here or there because it is here. So that means D is not here, and therefore we have D right there. So let's continue this logic. Continue the logic. Oh, this is interesting. Now, I mean, you can pause the video now and try to figure out what the value of D is. I think we know what it is because we said it's here. And we know it's not a 2 or a 5 or a 6 or a 7. It's a 3 or a 4, but it clearly can't be a 4 because we've already put in the 4. So D must be 3. That's the only way it can work. So D is 3, and we kind of have another digit. So instead of D's, I'm going to say 3. Okay, I think I said, hold on a minute. I think I said that A is 10 or 8. Now this is like one of the early deductions I made in the video is that one of these two cells is A. But if A is 10 or 8, it's in one of those two cells. So now this cannot be A, because if it was, it can't go there, repeat in its region. So therefore, this is not A. Therefore, this is A, which is nice, because that gives us A is not 8. So A is 10, which in our nomenclature or terminology, in our little like word bank, if you will, A is 0 or 10. So I will just say 0, which looks very strange, but that is the way it's going to happen. So now we have an 8-9 pair here. Okay, 8-9 pair. What else? All right, this cell, where does it go in this region? Well, I'm looking at how it interacts with this orange, almost square region. All right, the only place for this cell in the orange region is in one of those two positions, which means it can't go here. So it's very, very restricted. In fact, the only place it can go in this top left cage is right there. Hopefully that's clear to everyone, and that's a 9. So that means that this is a 9, which means that's an 8. Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, so now the 9 is definitely in one of two positions. And the 8 is in one of three positions, which I will pencil mark. Now the 8 is in, wow, it can't go there by Sudoku. So the only place for 8 is right here. So that's good. All right, that's very good. So now 8, where do you put it? This is very interesting. Where do you put it? 8 and 9, as a matter of fact. Where do you put it here? Well, the 8 and the 9 must go here. So G is definitely 8 or 9. G is 8 or 9. Let's continue this. 9 is definitely in one of two positions. And okay. So like if this is 8 or 9, right? Then the 8 and 9 definitely go here. And obviously they're not. Yeah, so the 8 by Sudoku, by the power of Sudoku, the 8 is definitely either here or here. So yeah, I guess I'll put that in here or here because it's not F. But now where does 9 go? Where does 9 go in this cage? Well, it's not here, it's not there, and it's not F, so it must go right here. It's the only square. And let's continue this. That means this is not a 9. So the 9 is only in one of two positions. And G is not 9. Aha. So now G is 8. That's cool. G is 8. Whoa, that's very cool. So I'm going to get rid of G now, because I know G is 8. Yeah, and if G is 8, obviously this can't be G, because it would rule out 8 from everything. So therefore, this is G, which is 8. Therefore, that is 8. Okay, very good. 8 is in one of those two, and so is 1. So I'll just make this a 1-8 pair. Get rid of the corner pencil marks. All right, let's continue. So 8's in one of two positions because it sees everything else. Okay, what about 8 in this row 5? Well, it's seeing all of these squares. So the only place for 8 is right there. Cowabunga. So the only thing we have is 8's here and 8's there. So that is very, very nice. Now, we could do something with F's, maybe? Yeah, I think we can do something with F. Let me see. Maybe not. Maybe with B. Uh, yeah, maybe with B. Okay. Yeah, so B is in one of two positions. So it means it's not 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 or 8 or 0. So it can only be 6 or 7. 6, 7. Okay. I just had to say that. It can only be 6 or 7. Now, is it seeing any of those digits that I know of? Not sure. I mean, oh, I mean, the 1 has to go there. Oh, this is so clever. Because if you look at this, right, these 3 digits must be in here because they can't go here. And this is a 10 cell region. So we have a 0, 4, 0, 4, 1. So this is a 1, which is going to get rid of this 8, 1. Going to make this an 8. That's really good. Do we have all the 1s? Yes, we do. We have all the 8s. Very nice. Very nice. This is very restricted here. I think this is a 6, 7. Another chance to have the kids go wild with the 6, 7. Three? Yeah, 3 is quite restricted in this region. It can't go in any of those or here, so it must go there. Which is taking out a possibility for 9. Yeah. So now this is a 9. Now this is not a 3. Let's look at the 3s. What is interesting about the 3s? Okay, 3 is in one of 2 positions based on Sudoku. So now this is not a 3. None of those are 3s. None of these are 3s. So 3 is definitely in one of those 2 positions. It's not here by Sudoku, so it must go there. It's the only place, and that sees this cell because it's in the same cage. So weirdly enough, this is a 3, and so is this. That means this is a 9. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Have we done all the 9s? Sort of. The 9 in this black region must go there. Now have we done all the 9s? Not quite. The 9 in the row. Let's see, the 9 in the row. Or maybe the 9 in this yellow region is in one of 2 positions. Still not disambiguated. And the 9 is in one of 2 positions here. Okay, that's very good. 2. Yeah, we've done no work on 2, which is strange. The 2, the only place is right here. So that is a 2. And B is not 2. So the only place for a 2 is right there. And we may be able to just do these 2s like no problem. 2 in one of 2 positions. 2 must be up here somewhere. Because it can't repeat in the cage. So it must be up there. So it is in one of 2 positions. But if it were here, the puzzle would break. Because then you couldn't put a 2 there. It'd be in the same region. So now this is a 2. I'm actually going to get rid of this pink shade. If I could find it. There we go. All right. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have 5s or 6 or 7s. This is a 6, 7 pair, so we are missing a 5. So this is a 5, which means the 5 is definitely in one of 2 positions. So this is a 2, 5 pair. So this is forced to be a 6 or a 7, and we're getting down to the very ending part of this puzzle. What else am I supposed to do? There is a 5 in one of 2 positions. Because if we look right here, one of those is a 5. Okay. So now none of these are 5, none of those are 5. So this is not a 5. It rules out by King's move, neither is F. So there is for sure a 5 in one of 2 positions. Ooh, we have like almost all the, yeah, and F is not a 5. So this is a 5 just by Sudoku, the fact that we have everything. So now the identity of F is known because we have all the digits except for 7 in this row. So F is 7, which means this is 6. That is 7. That's 6, 7. That's cool. Now B could be 7 too, but it also could be 6. 6, 7 rearing its ugly head again. Okay, we are doing very nicely. What else? What else? What else? 2 is definitely in only one of 2 positions. This is a 5, 6. This digit corresponds to that digit, which is a 5 or a 6, and it's not a 5 because of this by King's move. That's incredible. So it is a 6, which means this is a 6. That is a 5. That's ridiculous. Now, is it interacting with the B's at all? I don't think so. Don't think so. So 6. What else? Okay. 6. 6 by Sudoku is in one of two positions, which means it's not here, or there, or there, or there. So that is a 6. Which I think means, yeah, that means this is a 5, and this is a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and this is a 9. That's nice. That's very good. Let's go. That's good. Now, what do we do here? Okay, so now the 6 is not here, so it is B. So B is 6. That's a 7. We do the 6, 7 business. So by Sudoku, we need a 2 and a 5. So that is a 2. That is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 5. So this is a 5. We need 6, 7. So that's 6, and that's a 7. We need a 2. Perfect, which disambiguates the 5 and the 2. This, by Sudoku, by the row logic, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's a 7. By the column, it's a 7, and by this, it's also a 7. So this tells us we are on the right track. In the column, we need a 2. Just be very careful here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's a 5. That's a 6. And we still have this. 5 and 7. Here's the 5. Here's the 7. And this is a 2. I think that's going to do the puzzle. I'm not sure there is a checking soft checking in this, but let's just check. We have the 1s. We have the 2s. We have the 3s. Then we have the 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s, which are zeros. So that is going to do it. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.